Hey guys, sorry about that. I know this has been streaming for now like, Jesus, 15 minutes before I actually start to cast, but I got caught up reading about Nordic capitalism, because Wikipedia is a giant time sink if you let it be. But at some point I figured, hey, let's actually cast a game, and that's what's gonna happen right now. So, got Izu taking on Don't Care in the loser bracket round 2 of HoN Tour Season 3 Gold Cycle 5. And don't have a co-caster for this one. Couldn't find anybody. It is kind of an awkward time, as most of those East Coasters, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning for them, and if you are in Europe, it's the middle of the night. So, not a great time unless you're on the west coast of the US, as I am. And therefore, I can understand why people might have a little bit more difficulty in deciding, yeah, let's cast a game. So, that's fine. I'll do it myself. Don't need you. I'm a strong, independent black woman. And as a result of my being a strong, independent black woman, first couple of bans for FJ on Izu's side are Cthulhu and Silhouette, so no huge surprise there. Now, Anthos is inviting me to join a group, which is ridiculous. Really? I'm casting you, Nab. Unbelievable. I don't understand what the heck he's doing, and if he's not... Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. So, I don't know, maybe he will join, maybe he won't. It's up to him. It's fine. First couple of bans were Silhouette and Cthulhu for FJ, Parasite and Swiftblade being the wins for Hellborn side. Time to Die on Don't Care.
Engineer.
This is unbelievable, this guy. Alright, let's get Anthos in here. I'm sending you match IDs right now, so jump in. I'm not going to pause this.
Wait, hang on. My headset was not on. I just put it on. What's up?
I'm saying, I have an echo.
Really?
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Dude, why? I don't understand why my headphones do this. Like, a headset should not be able to do that, and yet that's the case every single time.
I agree. I can hear myself agreeing with myself. Anyway, I just gave you match IDs, so join up. Fix your headset and join up. Should be good. I'm just jumping into game 1 right now, and I'm not pausing anything. Just gonna let it run. It's fine. Do some good casting. Anyway, FJ's team picking up Soul Stealer, Warbeast, Rhapsody, Magnus, and Keeper of the Forest. So, can you say team fight? I hope you can say team fight, because they can say team fight. And FJ get a DC here, which I assume going to mean pause, but we'll skip straight through that, because everything is fine. Kraken, Reshag, Flux, Engineer, and Tempest, the pickups for the Hellborn side. So, I really hope you can say team fight, because both of these teams can say team fight. And pushing potential, pretty even on both sides. We had a Warbeast and a Soul Stealer on, and a Keeper of the Forest on a Rhapsody, actually. So yeah, Legion side has a lot more push. What am I even talking about? Tempest on the other side, the only one that really has a ton of pushing potential. But Hellborn, a lot more gank presence, and definitely, I think, a little more counter initiation as well. Legion side probably looking to get the jump with the Magnus, followed up by the Keeper route and the FJ Soul Burst. Hellborn side waiting around a little bit, don't want that Tempest ultimate to cancel by the Keep of the Forest route, and of course you have the Flux NG combination as well as the Wretched Hag and Kraken, who should have Portal Keep relatively quickly, or may not have it quickly, but he'll have it quickly in terms of his overall item progression. Yeah, live cast of replay. How you doing there, Anthos? He says he's gonna eat. Alright, fine.
I'm not...
I just ended the call, because I don't even care about him anymore. It's not even a big deal. Wait, now, wait, apparently. My mic was muted. What's going on? Alright. So at least for game one, we're not gonna have any Enthos. That's fine. I gave people warning, but apparently they were like, I don't want to do stuff. And they, well, I don't know if Enthos is just not checking his Skype messages or whatever. But either way, we are gonna have a game. Maybe we'll get him on for game two. Maybe we won't. We'll see. And bottom lane, we actually have Magnus and Rhapsody going at it, which is kind of surprising because you'd think Solstice would be a short lane possibility, especially considering he's going to go up against a dual lane Engineer and Flux in this middle lane, which is probably going to result in him not having too much farm. So clearly prioritizing the farm on this Magnus, wanting to get him to Portal Key as soon as possible, which again is a little bit iffy. I feel like they're not going to have it's a team that's necessary for Magnus to get a Portal Key this fast. Like, I mean, they can put him mid, no problem with this Rhapsody, have a very strong lane, even perhaps a kill lane, going up against that Engineer with the multiple stuns, Dance Ward does a lot of damage, and have Soulstealer's safe lane farm against a Kraken, who is going to have a solid time early on before Soulstealer starts to build up a whole bunch of souls. But speaking of which, that's going to be FJ dead. Oh shoot, that's not what I wanted. That is what I wanted. So we'll watch this, gets pulled back in, Flux is released, Kegson actually misses, but it doesn't matter, because this, again, Soulstealer just can't do anything about that. And I don't know why you would do that. Like, that's the reason that you put Kraken mid, that's the reason you put Magnus mid, Monkey King, all of these heroes that are melee heroes. I mean, Solstice's not a melee hero, but he can get pulled in by the Flux. I mean, often you see melee heroes in the middle lane, if they don't have an escape mechanism, and the vast majority of them seem to, they at least have some sort of stun. And that's going to assist them in getting away from things like a Flux-NG combination, which is going to be really difficult for FJ to deal with. He has like another Keg stun here, and pretty soon he's not going to be able to lane because he can't do anything against this combination. There's two heroes against it. It's just not going to work. So I really don't understand why they're doing this way, especially because they could have the Magnus. Even if you want to solo the Magnus mid, it's not a great plan, but you could have Rhapsody babysit the SS in the bot lane, and that would be fine. But there's no reason that Magnus needs to have a Portal Key this quickly. It's not like he's a Pebbles. If this was a Pebbles, I can understand it. You get a Pebbles and early Portal Key, he can open up the map really, really easily. You got Hag, Engineer, and Tempest who can all be picked off. Flux and Kraken a little bit more difficult, especially with the Pebbles Burst, but that would make sense to me. That's a hero that has serious problems laning and needs an early PK and really needs a babysit hero and oftentimes does much better in the short lane. So I get that. But a Magnus in the bottom lane does not need the priority farm. So I don't know. I'll shut up about it for half a second and look at this top lane really quickly. Wretched Hag going up against the War Beast. All sorts of W's that are tripping me up. And Hag is doing okay to begin with, but certainly not great. 215 GPM on her. Compare that to Warbeast at 133. So definitely out-farming this Warbeast, but not by a substantial amount. Now Warbeast going to be in some trouble as Tempest comes in, has the Glacial Blast available, of course. It is still level. No, it is level 2 actually. Is he just at level 4? And they're not even going to use it.
Smackdown.
It's nothing Warbeast is able to do. Continuously afraid of those Glacial Blasts, which were available, and as a result, just gets walked down. So, sad times for him. Meanwhile, Keeper of the Forest is chasing down the Engineer a little bit, but Flux can rotate over and assist. The Keeper Dogs putting in some damage, but not too much. And out bottom lane, they do manage to kill Time to Die, as came back in, and he didn't realize Magnus Lava Surge was back, apparently. Yep, there we go. Lava Surge, and real dead. Staccato's actually going to help get that kill, but Magnus getting the last hit. So, speaking of that Magnus, he is at 385 gold per minute, and he's going to have enough for his Steam Boots right now. So 4-minute Steam Boots, that's not bad. I would expect to have early PK on him. Meanwhile, Flux in the middle lane getting some aggression, but won't be killed. Pops a health pot. And she should be able to continue to lane, or he should be able to continue to lane very easily. Soulstealer nearly dying in that engagement once again. And nobody should be surprised that the Soulstealer is getting heavily pressured in the middle lane and is at only 140 gold per minute now. As far as heroes go in general, Soulstealer is a pretty fantastic recovery, but part of that is dependent on having jungle stacks because he clears them so easily with the Demon Hands. That's not going to happen so much with the Keeper of the Forest. They've got the small camp that looks like triple stacked, which is solid, and he'll be able to clean that up and get some farm out of it, which is going to be nice. They're also going to need to triple stack the Ancients because, again, Demon Hands are going to make it very easy to take those. Bottom lane, meanwhile, Kraken going to get some aggression. We'll charge into the tower, actually, and he's going to get pursued. He's going to turn this around on a Magnus, though, and he will get the counter kill. Rhapsody also not going to get the finish, so a little bit too much aggression there from Magnus, and he ends up taking the death, and that's another thing that just can't happen. If you're going to put all this priority farm on a Magnus, you cannot be taking deaths like that, because now he's at 350 GPM. And this is a Magnus that you're prioritizing very heavily over your Soul Stealer, which means he's going to have a significant impact in this game if they want to be successful. And 330 now GPM, 335 GPM is not going to cut it. That's his low point, really, because that's just after he spent all this time dead and he took the death into the tower. But again, it's a thing that can't happen. Like, they went for awkward lanes, greedy lanes, bad lanes, I think I'd even say, and if you're going to do that, you have to play perfectly. It's the age-old thing. If you're going to draft badly, you have to play better. If you're going to play badly, you have to draft better. Like, there's only a few ways to win games, and top lane, meantime, Warbeast is going to die. Action Hag just going to leave, essentially. And she will blink over. Looks like she's got a bottle. She'll head to the rune. It is a regen. Tempa's going to guard it for her. So, that'll be nice, actually, because she's pretty damn low on health and mana, so she'll probably take that more or less immediately, you know, as you can see. As I was saying a second ago, though, there are only a few different ways to win games. Really, they fall under two categories: outsmart or outplay. Outsmart could be drafting phase, could be laning phase, could be item choices, stuff like that. Outplay, anything from just beating somebody in a lane, to having better rotations, to having better team play as in a team fight, that sort of stuff. And at this point, the Legion side have a strong draft. I'm not suggesting that they don't. Meanwhile, actually, Kraken going to get the kill again on Magnus, as he just gets charged in, I assume. Yeah, charged in, released the Kraken right on his face in the immediate stun. And I don't know, man. I mean, and they don't have a bad draft. That's the thing that's getting me, is that this is actually a pretty solid draft from the Legion side. They have some things that they do very well, and I mean, it's enough to win. Like, if this is executed properly, this draft is definitely one that can win. And in fact, I might even say I favor it over the Hellborn draft. I'm not a huge fan of their draft in general. I think they probably need something a little bit harder of a carry than a Wretched Hag if they're going to put up a Flux who doesn't do that much damage, a Tempest who doesn't do that much damage, an Engineer who can do a fair bit depending on how good he is with his kegs, his turrets, and his ultimate. And then Kraken's also a bit of a wild card. Is he just a tank? Is he a tank and a damage dealer? Is he not? I don't know, neither of those things. Depends. But either way, I mean, Legion side is clearly just getting outplayed, but mostly because of issues of their own making. It's not that they're being beaten, it's that they're beating themselves, and that's just something that you don't like to see. And Lane's also going to be in a lot of trouble once again. Flux continuing to pound the auto attacks, but can't die that tower. He's pretty tanky, but he's not that tanky, and Soul Stealer can just run away. So Kraken in the bottom lane now at 301 gold per minute. This is a suicide Kraken up against a 2v1 in the Rhapsody and the Magnus, and he is now at 300 GPM. He's got a bottle of his own. He will pick up that double damage rune and head back to the bot lane. Got to release Kraken in 21 seconds. And that's going to be solid. And now with the tower kill on top by his teammates, he's actually tied this Magnus's GPM. And he can actually pop this double damage rune, I think, and force the Magnus out of lane. That's where we're at right now. I think he's waiting. He wants to get the release of Kraken back and just get a kill, which is fair. Yeah, he'll put the torrent. And Keeper of the Forest going to invis and armor the Magnus, which is solid. Lava Surge going to come through on the Kraken, plus the Eruption. They're going to drop the release of Kraken as a counter onto Magnus. Will he actually live through this? No! Yes, he does! Tower aggro switches the creep just in time, so they do manage to pick off time to die. Meanwhile, middle lane, Soul Stealer going to be in a lot of trouble. He's going to get pushed back in. Glacial Blast preventing the Soul Burst, and that's going to be a death, so it's a 1-for-1 at this point. Now, Rhapsody going on Engineer for reasons I cannot understand. Tempest Ultimate will catch her. Really not. I'm not sure if that was necessary, but at this stage in the game, using that for a solo kill actually isn't that bad, because you're not going to be grouping up. You don't have a portal key. It's not like it's a hugely valuable team fight ultimate at this point, so they just get the free kill onto the Rhapsody and choose to say, that's enough. We're going to back off. While Tempest is going to keep pushing the tower, but the rest of us are going to go heal. We got our kills. Everything's fine. Meanwhile, bottom lane, tower does go down as Keeper of the Forest came in to push, so that's good at least, that they're going to be able to get one tower down, but at the same time, I do feel, oh shit, in the lane. Lane goes 6 on the Tempest, does fall. Magnus doesn't have a portal key, I guess he just jumped in with the Lava Surge. Managed to help Soul Stealer with the burst, get that kill. And speaking of Soul Stealer, so I said you couldn't get the Soul Burst off, he doesn't have the Soul Burst. A little bit interesting. Flock's going to pull Soul Stealer back in, but just do a bit of damage before he backs up. And we're looking at 10 minutes in, 3,500 gold and experience lead for the guys on Don't Care. And I think Izu in a bit of trouble at this point. I mean, they definitely have the team fight and push presence to come back. Even from an early deficit, they have a Soul Stealer, which is one of the best recovery carries in the game, and Magma's going to get spotted out. He will Lob Surge away, which hits Tempest, which is also very good. Otherwise, Glacial Blast could have detected him, but Rhapsody gets spotted out as she's just kind of walking into no man's land. Demon Hands are coming out everywhere. Glacial Blast are going to do something. Lava Surge in onto the Tempest. They will get the 1 kill. Energy Field gets popped, and what's his face? Like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't care. Warbeast, whatever, but he does die thanks to a well-placed Keg Stun and a release from Flux. In the background, release the Kraken again. Hit a couple of heroes. Soul Stealer will be able to walk out of it, and so will Magmas. We'll see if they can get anything else. The charge misses, but here comes Hag. One more auto attack is there, and the route onto 2 heroes. Going to save Magmas for the meantime, but Blast means that Keeper of the Forest is dead. Magmas the only one to survive that engagement, and the rest of his team gets cleaned up. Hellborn side lose just the Tempest, and that gold lead that was 3.5k just a couple of minutes ago is now nearly 6k. The experience is over 6k, so they lost in lanes. They had some issues there. Eruption going off in the middle lane, actually, but Flux going to push Magmas away. It's not going to be enough. Magmas finishing off that kill. That's good. That'll get him really close to his portal key. He's about 300 gold away, and at his current rate of farm, it should be less than a minute. So Magmas will have an early portal key, which is fantastic. And yeah, I should take it. Either way. And Keg Stun comes in onto the Soul Stealer. And you have Staccato Stuns onto Wretched Hag as well, who is out of mana currently, but she still has auto attacks, and she can keep pounding him onto this SS. They will get that kill as Marcus finishes off FJ. And the Soul Stealer's 1-4. And I mean, like, it's really easy to just say he's been having a bad game. I don't think he's done all that poorly. Actually, Flux has a portal key and wrecks Rhapsody. That's good. Meanwhile, off the side, Keeper of the Forest is going to get dusted off. Tempest is going to find when the Glacial Blasts are there, so Keeper, real dead. Nice dust, and they will find Frankie Figs trying to farm the opposing team's wood. And middle lane, meantime, Magmas going to get pulled back in as well by the Flux. Magmas does have his portal key, which is going to be nice, and he's going to need to use his Lava Surge, but he can't. Nice pull back in into the Keg Stun, and the Torrent is going to be there. Is going to have enough damage for it. Portal key forward. Magmas continuing to set the bottle, trying to get enough to get this, and he will be able to portal key on out. Now, no more Demon Hand from Soul Stealer is going to get the counter kill onto Flux. So, solid play right there. Ward of Rev is going to be tried to kill by Engineer, yeah, and he should be able to get away here, as Soul Stealer has no way to lock him down, but Warbeast coming in with a Haste Rune and an Ultimate. Bit of overkill between those two things, I think, and he's actually not even going to kill out of that, so not the most efficient use of his ulti or his Haste Rune. As his ulti wears off, and I assume his haste doesn't have too much longer left on it. Yeah, just about 10 seconds. But Legion side will attempt a destruction of this mid-tier 1 tower. Tempest is on hand to try to stop the push at least a little bit, but I'm not sure how successful that's going to be. They got the Keeper Dogs, they got the Warbeast Wolves, so definitely going to be a dead tower. Will they get the deny? Tempest ultimate, going to hit onto 3 people, but the counter with the Magmas portal key, and now Tempest is totally dead. And Flux comes back in there. The root going to lock him down, though. Eruption going off in the background. It is not going to be cancelled, but Flux pushing everybody away. And that's going to prevent the Eruption from actually doing any damage. So they end up losing the tower and Tempest. Bit of an uncoordinated team fight there. The ports from the Hellborn side were not nearly in time to line up with that Tempest ultimate. So I thought Tempest was just going to go for the deny. He goes to the offensive play, and Keg Stun from Engie going to miss. And it doesn't really work out particularly well for him or his team. This is also going to turn into a mid-tier 2 tower push, in fact, and the Legion side are like, well, pretty much everybody's ult is down. Bat Blast from Wretched Hag and Staccato and Soul Burst are the only ones that are available. 2-man Lava Surge from Magmas, and we're going to see a Keg Stun actually hit on a Keeper of the Forest in the background. Warbeast will run away. Rhapsody ultimate is going to save a lot of damage onto a lot of heroes. Magmas finally going to die, and there goes Warbeast as well in the background. Ultimate from Engineer going to lock down Soul Stealer. He's dead. Keeper of the Forest trying to live, but the Sonar Scream from Wretched Hag finishes off that kill. So Magmas actually bought back and came back into that fight, which is a little bit iffy. Ends up being a genocide in favor of the Hellborn team, which is quite strong, as they continue to take team fights very, very well. Legion side occasionally will get a pick off here and there, but they have 19 hero kills in 15 minutes on the Hellborn team. And this is becoming a pretty serious problem for the Legion. FJ is recovering fairly well, in all honesty. He's got 285 gold per minute, and he was, you know, in the 150 range or so about 5-10 minutes ago. So The fact that he's even doing as well as he is reasonably impressive, but he does need to be doing substantially better because, yeah, not too much of his damage at this point really is right clicks. A lot of it is out of his ultimate and out of his demon hands, but once those are over, and presumably the fights are going to be lasting longer than the duration of his channel time for his ultimate, that's going to be a problem. We're actually picking up a Grimoire of Power at 15 minutes. She has 480 GPM. Hag is absolutely crushing this game. 7-0-5. Look at the CS score, 73-10. That's the second highest CS in the game, actually tied with Tempest. Magma's the only one that's higher. So Marcus Mud just having an absolutely fantastic time of things. Flux also doing quite well. Kraken at 350 GPM, Tempest at 280, and that's solo support Engineer at 223 GPM. So he's having a pretty solid time himself. And the tree is actually going to continue to attack it, so Legion side are well aware of exactly where this Engineer is. Flux will PK on out. And NG is working on his push book, so he's currently got the power supply and the Striders. We'll be looking for a push book as his next item. Hellborn items in general are pretty impressive. Orbeez in the top lane actually going to port out as realizing he cannot go toe-to-toe with this wretched Hag. Tempest picking up the Steam Boots and Mana Ring. I assume he's got more. Their engagement over here. Rap's going to get caught out by the Engineer. Flux coming in with a portal key, and that's going to be a pretty easy kill. Will they look for any counters? Torrent goes down onto FJ and the Soul Stealer. Release Kraken right on his face, and that's going to stop his ultimate. He's also going to get pulled back in. The question is, can he get off? Yes, the Soul Burst absolutely crushes Engineer as well as Flux and Kraken. FJ still alive somehow, but Tempest's ultimate will finish him off. And now Ratchet going to come in here with the Sonar Scream onto Keeper of the Forest. That's one kill. Magma's now trying to get away, but he's probably not realized how bad his situation is because he lava surged in, and his portal key will be continuously canceled. He'll actually have it back up in a couple of seconds. He will be able to PK on out and CP. Can they get this kill? No, they did sort of see him with that Word of Sight up here, but they did not have the Sonar Scream off cooldown, and Wretched Hag was out of mana anyway, so couldn't finish off that kill, but in the end, they lose a fair number of heroes. Actually, FJ with a pretty nice turnaround, but Warbeast's going to eat the Glacial Blasts, and that was really bad. He died very, very quickly. So, in the end, Hellborn side ended up pretty substantially ahead in that team fight, despite the fact that FJ got a couple of kills, and it really took him a long time to die. There's a pretty nice coordination between him and Magnus. Or at least pretty nice timing. I'm not sure if the coordination was actually there. That's basically allowed him to eat a whole bunch of damage from various skills, including some ultimates, and then Magnus interrupted everybody for long enough for him to get his soul burst off onto 3 people that were standing literally right on top of him. So that's not really where you want your positioning to be if you don't care, but at this point it's going to be difficult to see them losing this game. They're up 23-10 in hero kills, 10k gold, 14k experience. And you look at the GPM charts in general, and everybody is doing well on this Hellborn team. All 4 of their cores 330 GPM or more. And, I mean, Magnus has really recovered, or Magnus has done okay, and Soul Stealer's really recovered. Meanwhile, Kraken's sort of getting caught out here. He does have his release to Kraken, but he's going to get dropped before that. It does too much. Flux pull back in, but Raps the ultimate, saving all sorts of damage. Magnus will get the 2-man Lava Surge. They already have the kill on time to die on the Kraken, but they will be able to finish off Magnus. Now FJ going to have to run away from this Wretched Hag, who's absolutely crushing. Soul Burst is there. Doesn't do enough damage, though, and the Astrolabe heal is going to be really substantial. Staccato stuns are going to be on Wretched Hag in the background, but Rapsy's still absolutely screwed. And there's no way that they're going to kill this Wretched Hag or pretty much do anything to her at this point. She's got a Grimoire of Power. She has 566 GPM at 19 minutes into this game. And things are looking very, very bad for Izu at this point.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Revelation goes off on that Engineer, so they will be able to see any Keeper ganks coming through with the Nature's Veil, but obviously not enough people alive to really do anything like that, so... Oh. Here comes Wretched Hag, sitting right on top of this Keeper of the Forest, who is just outside of Rev Ward range. And if he pushes up anymore, he will be inside of that. And now he definitely is inside of that. So he's going to follow them through the woods. This is a Legion Ward of Rev, so not going to get spotted out by that, and he's pretty confident that they don't have any wards. Tempest currently sitting on Dust of Revelation, so if he randomly pops that at this point, then Keeper could be in some trouble. Actually, yeah, Glacial Blasts are going to go down, so they definitely see him in some capacity. Not wanting to pop the Dust, though, for some reason. In the background, Engineer getting jumped on by Magnus, but the energy field prevents them from chasing further. And in the end, I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't choose to chase that any more than they did. It seems like Tempest probably could have gotten something onto that Keep the Forest, because Richard Hag was somewhat nearby. She was a little bit low on health and mana, but choosing to play it safe, not the worst decision in the world. They are up substantially, so at this point, perhaps the only way they can lose this game is if they throw it. Hag picking up a Prickle Brain on top of her Glowstone, so she's going for an Icon, which under normal circumstances would be a terrible decision. Under these, when you're winning this hard, I think it's fine. It's going to give her a lot of health and mana regen. It's going to make her more or less impossible to kill in these fights, because if she gets a single kill, the Gift of the Goddess and the extra health and the Blink are going to prevent her from dying, essentially. They just don't have enough lockdown. They really have 2 heroes on the stage side that don't have lockdown at all. Anyway, release Kraken right on top of the Flux Ultimate. Everything get pulled in, and they get destroyed. Alright, I'm watching that again. Okay, let's watch this. Release the Kraken right there on everybody. Flux pulls them all in, and Warbeast for some reason runs toward this with his ultimate. Wretched Hag with the Bat Blast from downtown. Oh man. Is that not a top 5 play of the week? That seems like a top 5 play of the week to me.
Nemesis. Massacre.
And
Genocide.
yeah, you can see the all chat there. Like, that was, as far as wombo combos go, that's literally exactly what you're looking to have happen. Like, there's no way that you can execute it pretty much any better than that. They didn't even use a Tempest Ultimate. They didn't really have to, but oh, that's painful. So game 1 of this best of 3 is going to go to the guys on Don't Care. Mizzou taking a pretty early loss at about 20 minutes, and it just came down to, I mean, the draft was fine. I think individually, as in terms of their skill, they're not the greatest. They're more of a mid-tier, maybe even lower-tier Diamond Division team, Gold Division team, but they're better than 21-minute CCs, and I think that was just a mistake in terms of how they laned it. Like, there's no reason Solstier should have been middle over the Magnus. Magnus didn't do enough with the Supportal Key, and he didn't even do that well in lane, considering the lane he was given. And it got to the point where they were feeding too much Warp. I think I didn't mention it all, but you have to consider is the fact that between Warbeast and Soulstealer, they have no CC whatsoever. And I'm just not sure if you could do that. Rhapsody, Magnus, and Keeper of the Forest will all provide some, but they had 2 consistent stuns in Rhapsody and Magnus, and the Keeper Root and the Magnus ulti, which are both CC tools in some respect, the Keeper Ultimate not having, both ultimates really not having a short cooldown, but you know, they'll slow people down, prevent them from getting away from you and stuff like that, which is nice, but I just think this came down to poor laning decisions, and I don't think that you can really have this little crowd control on your team. It's just, it's really hard to win games if you're going to do that sort of thing. So either way, that means we'll be looking for a game 2, and we'll see if FJ's crew can perform a little bit better in game 2 than they did in game 1. I'm not faulting his drafting or their hero picks or stuff so much. I don't think it was the greatest draft, but it was a pretty solid one, and it could have definitely worked if they had executed better, but I think that's what they're going to need to look to do in game 2. So we'll be right back. Stick around, guys.